Hi there, my name is Counsellor Jullie. This is Life-Giving Words, your space that brings you edification, that encourages you, that inspires you to be transformed and to become the better version of yourself. As I always say, as you listen to every message here, God breathes life into your spirit. So welcome. I hope the previous episodes have been of a great blessing to you. And even as you watch, I know this will edify you to become the better version of you. And so today I have an interesting topic that I called Stop Comparison and Start Becoming. Stop comparison and start becoming. Did you know that most people are so depressed, not because their lives are worse, but because they keep comparing themselves to others. They keep looking at achievements of others, and so they feel small in life. There is no way you would spend your life looking at what others are doing, where they come from, the dresses they are putting on, the cars they're driving, and you expect, to feel great after that. And so comparison is one of the things that really steals joy. Your life is unique. Your life is amazing the way it is. God designed it to be that way. God designed you to live the way you do. Like the way He created you, He gave you the talents, the abilities, the potential in you. He actually also gave you your skin color. He gave you, your mind. He designed where you would be born because He wanted you to be born exactly where you were born. Have you ever felt happy, woken up normal, brushed your teeth, and you're about your business, and then boom, you open Instagram, you open TikTok, and then you look at what others are doing, they post their highlights, and all of a sudden you feel sad? Have you ever been happy until you visited a friend and still you saw their relationship, you saw their car, their house, their achievement, and all of a sudden you shrinked? Why is it so? Why is it so? What made you feel that? Is it that you don't feel enough? Is it that you don't feel like your achievement matter? Comparison that steals our joy away. We are blessed differently, and when God created us, He chose our paths. Just like the nature, you see, when you look at trees, a mango tree is different from a palm tree. They bear fruits in different seasons, but they fulfill purpose. Some people will blossom at 20, others at 17, others at 30, others at 40. What matters is knowing your path. Some will build a house at 21, and maybe you're at 30, looking at somebody who drove their first, car at 22, and you're still walking, and you're like, I think I am not good enough. Who told you you're not good enough? Who told you your path looks like the path of another person? Who told you you will not amount to something? Don't pressure yourself. Who told you, that your life is dictated by other people's calendar? It is time that you look into yourself. Time that you look, what has God given me, and embrace your life differently. Because the moment we start comparing, some people start hating where they come from, they hate their careers, they hate even, their complexion and all that, simply because they were not able to embrace who they were. And the sad reality is, in the process of comparing yourself, sooner or later you realize when time is gone that you never became. Can I tell you something? The world does not need another version of them. It needs the version that God created you to be, the version that He created on purpose. We don't need another photocopy of somebody else. We need the original you. The world is looking for the original you. And sometimes you might look down on yourself and think that there is nothing in the inside of you. I challenge you to look in the inside of you. You see, when I was in high school, sometimes I would see somebody like write a book, their name in the name of a celeb. So allow me not to mention the name of the celebs. Okay. So you call the name of the celeb and your name. So you're calling yourself the celeb. I don't mean that we don't celebrate people. I don't mean that we don't celebrate achievement. What I mean is, don't let people's achievement steal your joy from you and, cause you to feel small. Others people's, achievements and what they have done in life should cause us, to aspire to become better. We should learn from people. And so I used to hate that thing. I used to, challenge, my classmates, my friends, and I'm like, why should you call yourself the name of another person? If it's out of inspiration, it's okay. But if it's to make you feel like, a nobody, then I'm not okay with that. And I could challenge, people back then, and I would tell them, you see, yearn to become great also, that people will want to be associated with you. Not to feel small, but they want, inspired that I will work hard, I will, strive to become better and better. The only person you're allowed to compete, to compare with, is the version of you yesterday, not the version of somebody today. If you're telling me you're in comparison, let it be that I'm in comparison with who I was yesterday, with my old version, that today I'll become better and tomorrow I'll be better and better. Allow me to show you some of the things that, how can you overcome comparison? If you're somebody that is really affected by what you see on social media, every person's highlight, remember, people post highlights, not struggles. And it doesn't mean that those people are, somebody who posted the highlight, they didn't have their struggles. They worked hard to achieve that. They worked smart to achieve that. So if you're somebody who is really affected by what you see other people post, I would urge you, it would be wise for you to minimize your time on social media so that it doesn't affect you until you're sure that you have overcome that. The other thing is, practice gratitude every day. I dare you to look back from where you are. Could you reflect back on where you're coming from? Maybe you're 30 years. You are looking back and you'll be like, wow, God has been so faithful. God has been so amazing. There's a time you wouldn't afford a good shoe, but you just bought it yesterday. You're not in that house that you would want to live in, but you're not living in the house that you lived in yesterday. There are things you struggled to afford yesterday, but today you are living in them. But yes, I know you're aspiring to get there, but today is not as it was yesterday. Practice gratitude, and you realize as you practice gratitude, as you start appreciating God for every little detail that is happening in your life, you realize that comparison with the others starts fading away. Thirdly, know your identity in God. Who does God say about you? Who does He say you are? You see, there was this man in the Bible called Gideon. God, the angel of the Lord comes and says, Gideon, mighty man of war, mighty man of valor. And he was actually shocked and surprised and was like, what? Are you calling somebody else? Because I don't think that's who I am. Imagine God knew that this is a mighty man of valor, but he didn't see himself as a mighty man. He actually started saying, I'm from the smallest clan, my family is the least and all that. He gave excuses and all that. But what surprises me most is that God, the creator of the heavens and the earth, his maker, knew that I didn't create you to be small. You are mighty man of valor. And from Gideon we see great victories coming. Who does God say you are? You could be looking down on yourself, but when God looks at you, He sees a nation. He sees a great leader. He sees an achiever. He sees somebody that will deliver a whole family. Yet, you're busy comparing yourself to another. You're doing yourself a great harm. Lastly, I would say, embrace yourself. Celebrate your every achievement, no matter how small. I always urge my clients, don't wait for the mountain change. You see, sometimes when we are in the journey of life, sometimes people despise the small things they do. They actually don't recognize them, and they will celebrate themselves when they are on the top. But if you're not celebrating your todays, your small things, it might be hard for you to get to the top. I don't mean that you dwell on the small things that you're achieving. I mean, recognize them and appreciate them. And that way, comparison will start fading away. I hope you have reflected. And as you keep, listening to this message, that you reflect over and over. And what has stolen joy from you, which is mainly comparison, will cease. And it's a choice that you decide from today, I am not gonna compete with anybody. Because actually, life is not a race. There's nowhere at the end of the day we are gonna receive a reward that, I competed with this, I competed with that. No. The reward you will get is out of, I became the better version of myself. I overcame every obstacle, not that I was put down by what people did. Lastly, I conclude on saying what I said previously, that in the process of comparing yourself, sadly enough, some people come to realize that in the process of really comparing themselves to others, they never became. How I pray that this will not be you. How I pray that this will not be how you will speak. You will say that, wow, I learned from others, they challenged me, but they never made me to feel small. I became better and better. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in our next episode. Thank you so much. Bye.